Noreen and welcome to my kitchen, and today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious flax and sesame seed gluten-free loaf of sandwich bread, and I promise you it's not going to taste like sawdust. Let's go see how we make this. The ingredients first, and then we'll bring over the mixer and we'll start mixing everything together. Now, first thing I need to tell you is that a gluten-free loaf of bread is very, very different from a yeast-risen loaf of bread or a regular loaf of bread that you're going to use wheat flour in. A gluten-free loaf of bread is much more like a batter than a dough, so keep that in mind. And it doesn't look like there's a lot of ingredients here, but every single one of these things is essential to making a proper yeast-risen loaf of gluten-free bread. You're going to start off with 2 1/4 cups of our gluten-free flour blend. What I have here is 1 1/4 cups of whole milk and 1/4 cup of butter that I have melted and just mixed together in there with the milk. We're going to have 2 eggs. These should be at room temperature. You're going to need a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I prefer the Bragg's, which has the mother in it. 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast, a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoons of xanthan gum, and then I am adding 1/4 cup of golden flax meal that is ground, and we'll top it off with some sesame seeds, and of course that's optional. Now I'm going to clear and I'm going to bring the mixer over and we'll start mixing all of this together. Alright, I'm just going to put my milk and my butter in the bowl. I'm going to add our eggs. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and get this. I'm going to put the paddle on and I'm going to start mixing it together. I'm going to add my apple cider vinegar too. And my sugar, and my yeast, and then while that's mixing, I'm going to add the flax meal, the xanthan gum, and the salt in here. Alright, that's mixed up pretty good for now. We're going to add our flour mixture in all at once. Okay. Now we're going to start it off slow, and then we'll mix it together until it's fully incorporated. Now I want you to come in here and scrape it down. I could use my beater blade and I would be able to avoid this, but even still you might have to beat it down just a little bit. Scrape it down, not beat it down. Okay, now we're going to set it on a higher setting and we're going to literally let this beat and aerate for 3 minutes. Alright, we have finished beating this for 3 minutes. Now, I cannot stress to you the importance of that step. You must do that. Okay, through trial and error, we learned that if we don't beat this together like that, the bread is just going to fall and become an icky mess. Okay, now you get your batter into your standard bread pan and kind of manipulate it in there with a spatula so that it's nice and even. The one thing about gluten-free bread is that you don't have to let it rise twice. You put it in the pan and we're going to rise this for a ½ hour while we preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of water and I'll be right back. Okay, what you're going to want to do then is get yourself a little cup of water and smooth this out. Just get it as smooth as you can. And then at this point, if you like, you can get yourself some sesame seeds. You can use an egg wash if you wish, but today I'm just going to stick these on here. And it'll be fine. Okay, what you want to do now is you want to put a bonnet on it or cover it with some plastic wrap. But if you use plastic wrap, make sure that you spray the inside with some non-stick cooking spray. Otherwise, that dough is very sticky. You're going to want it to rise until it's just above the edge of the pan. It has a nice crown. I'll be back after about half an hour, and I'll show you what this looks like before we put it in the oven. Okay, while we were waiting for this loaf to rise, I made 3 more, and they're rising. But this one needs to go in the oven now because, like I said, you want to wait till it just crowns the rim of the baking pan. So, oven is preheated at 350 degrees. This is going to go in there. Please be gentle. 45 minutes, and then we'll be back when it's time for it to come out. Okay, Rick is taking a nap. We had to get up really early this morning to take one of our kids for a field trip. So these are ready, but they did not take 45 minutes. They took about 30. So we're going to let these sit for just a few minutes, and I'm going to take them out of the pan so you can see how nice they look. And we're going to slice one later after they're completely cooled so that you can see what they look like. You don't want to slice into these loaves until they are completely cool. So take them out of the pan in about 5 minutes and then let them cool on a rack until they're completely cool. Then you can store them in a plastic bag. I'll bring you back and I'll go over a few finer points about this recipe before I let you go, and I'll let you see what this looks like once it's sliced. Okay, all the bread is cool, as you can see, 4 finished loaves. Now I did want to make a couple of points before I slice in and let you see what it looks like. These are the 2 loaves I took out for you. When you make gluten-free bread, it is going to look like it caved in slightly on the sides. But remember when I told you I said 45 minutes, but I took it out at 30? Don't do that, okay? Even though I took the temperature on this bread, and it should be between 195 and 205, you should leave it in for at least 40 minutes. I left these 2 in for 40 minutes, and you can see there is a distinct difference in the loft. These are slightly taller, and when you're going to make sandwich bread, if you can't eat gluten and you desperately want a sandwich, it doesn't matter which one you eat. They're still both going to taste delicious, but this looks a little bit nicer. And so leave it in for 40 minutes. If you're into taking the temperature on your bread, then you can take that and just stick your instant read thermometer. It should be between 195 and 205. I know that's a pretty broad range, but that's the perfect spot for bread. And wrap these in a Ziploc bag or in plastic wrap. If you're not going to eat them right away like me, I'm going to take these to the store. 2 of them are for sampling, 2 of them are for sale, and then I'm going to make more tomorrow. But wrap them tightly or put them in an airtight container and keep them in the refrigerator. Gluten-free products, unfortunately, need to be kept refrigerated. Otherwise, they spoil much more rapidly than if you just left them out on the counter. They turn to mush or they turn rubbery. It just depends on what you have. So this is the one that I demonstrated putting together. So I'm going to just set this aside here for a second, move this out of the way, and I'm going to slice into it for you. I did want to point out too, the recipe is developed to work perfectly. Don't substitute things out. Don't leave things out. Don't add things in. The vinegar is absolutely necessary. It's all about the chemistry and is how this works. So you have to leave in the vinegar. You have to leave in the xanthan gum. The flaxseed meal actually acts like extra eggs, and it adds more protein to the bread. So you really want that to happen. So I'm gonna I'm not a lefty, so I'm gonna still try and slice this for you. Now this is completely cooled, and it's cooled for a good long time. And I want you to see, this is nice and soft. Okay, and it's got beautiful crumb to it. I'll tear it for you. That is what happens when you use the right amount of xanthan gum. And It's just like bread that you're used to eating if you're a bread lover. Open. It's good bread.
It's not bad.
You don't miss the gluten.
It melts in your mouth.
It does. It's delicious. It will make a lovely sandwich. And if you have been put on a gluten-free diet, or it has been suggested that you go on one, this is going to help you make it through. Because that's the biggest problem with a gluten-free deal, is if you're a bread lover, that means no bread, no sandwiches, no pancakes, no waffles, no biscuits, no donuts, no nothing like that. Anything that wheat flour is in, you can't have. So listen, we can make life a little easier. We can do something like this. You're going to love this. I'm going to be showing you how to make a few other gluten-free things. We're going to go down this road together. I'm not going to live a gluten-free lifestyle, but you know what? You're not going to miss it anyway. Even if I help you learn how you can make delicious things that are gluten-free so that you don't miss them. So, I hope that you give this gluten-free bread a try. I hope that you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. I hope you liked what you watched today, and I hope that you try it, and I hope that you love it. If you like what you saw, please consider hitting the thumbs up button and giving me a positive rating. And also, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're already not a subscriber so that you don't miss out on any of the fun we have here in our kitchen every single day. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to come by tomorrow. Until next time, happy eating!